Welcome back. Well, the month of August was a bad one for Joe Biden, with his approval rating sinking to an all-time low as the White House tries to manage multiple crises, many of their own making, from Afghanistan to the chaos at the southern border. On top of that, the latest jobs report shows employment in August missed expectations by almost 500,000. Outnumbered co-host and former White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany is here to react. Kayleigh, good morning. So great to have you as always.
Good morning.
Good morning. Have you seen anything like this kind of a stunning collapse, and does it surprise you at all?
Look, it doesn't surprise me because we elected a president from a basement. He was not tested. The only challenge he had was that on that debate stage where President Trump absolutely trounced him in that final debate. So we elected someone without any real scrutiny who had, by the way, a horrible record in foreign policy. We've all heard the Gates quote about him being wrong on every major foreign policy decision. So all of a sudden, a few months in, 8 months in, people realize, oh, wait, inflation's coming. So he has a 39% approval rating on the economy. Oh, wait, COVID. He wasn't prepared for that either. It was President Trump that gave us the vaccines. All of a sudden, his poll numbers tanking there. Crime, immigration, you name it. And then the Afghanistan withdrawal, which I think just crystallized in everyone's mind how incompetent, how much of a buffoon this president actually is.
Yeah, what is it about Afghanistan? Because crime numbers have been there. The border we've had the images, they've been shown, inflation, unemployment, not to mention a number of other issues have all been there. But Afghanistan seems to really left an imprint on people and have sent his numbers south. What is it about that?
I can tell you what it is, Pete. You know, they're contrary to what the left says. They say we don't have any binding principles as Americans as they try to wipe away the things that unite us. But one of those central principles is caring for one another, is not leaving another American behind. It's central to who we are. I don't have to tell you, Pete, it's central to the military, as you know well. So I think when I saw the polling, and it was extraordinarily high numbers of people who said, no, I don't want to leave Americans behind, and even a majority saying, I don't want to leave Afghan allies behind, like the interpreter that helped you and so many others. That principle, when it came into question, when we lost a war we fought for 20 years, left Americans behind, Afghans hanging from planes, and 13 U.S. service members dead after 18 months of not losing a service member, I think it just really rubbed Americans the wrong way because it's against everything that we stand together united for.
You're right, and the images are so stark, whether it's the checking of the watch or the bowing of the head, or as you referred to, clinging to planes and falling from the air, or even as you were talking, we showed the Taliban flags now flying from our equipment right before our eyes. It feels like America's dignity, honor has been shaken to its core.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head there too, Pete. It's compassion, and I think Joe Biden misled the country. I'm this big compassionate guy. That's what he did on the campaign trail. He had some teary-eyed moments, and Americans said, I want that compassionate guy. But then we find out when he's asked about the Afghans, whose remains, by the way, were found in the wheel of a plane, he said that happened 4 or 5 days ago. After Afghans were killed, he said no one is being killed. The checking of the watch, the Gold Star families who have come forward, it paints a picture of who this man really is. He's stubborn. He's not caring. In fact, I would argue he is cruel, as we've seen through the latest Afghanistan debacle.
Yeah, well said. When you see that number, 43% approval rating, that's incredibly low when you consider how young ultimately his term is. If you were to look at where they would look to recover that number, where does an administration like this go to say, all right, right now they're trying to go to the $3.5 trillion bill, Green New Deal bill. Where do they turn to try to bring that north?
I think they'll try to turn to that bill, but the problem is even polling shows Americans are all of a sudden a little rifled by spending. They realize that this exorbitant spending is tied to inflation. I don't think they have anywhere to turn because an administration like this needs to autocorrect, needs to acknowledge, wait, Trump's border policies were working. Wait, the way he wanted to get out of Afghanistan was the right way. Wait, his economic policies were working. As we know, Black and Latino people in this country had more opportunity than ever before, their median income going up the highest. There's more opportunity for more people, but it takes an autocorrect. It takes saying, wait, that guy was doing something right, and I don't think our stubborn president has the ability to do that.
No, you're right. I mean, they can't autocorrect because they believe what they're doing, even if it's undermining and crushing our country in the process. Well, Kayleigh, you're going to be on the Big Saturday show, am I right? Big Saturday and Sunday show, 5 p.m. here on the Big Channel.
Can't wait. Thanks so much,
You
Pete.
can watch more of Kayleigh. Thanks so much for being with us.